So good day. In this video, I will discuss one programming language which is Lisp. So Lisp stands for Least Processing and is one of the oldest high-level programming languages. It was created in 1958 by John McCarthy at MIT for AI and symbolic computation. So key features of this is code and data share the same structure which make it very flexible over time. So it has a dominant in AI research during the 60s and 70s. Lisp machines in the 70s and 80s improved efficiency, and Common Lisp standardized in 1984 and ANSI standard in 1994. So modern dialects like Scheme, Clojure, and Racket emerged later. Lisp is still used today in AI. So research and education also. So Lisp is mainly used in AI, NLP, symbolic computation, research, scripting, and prototyping. So for evaluation, it is moderate readability but very writable. And it is also reliable, low cost, portable, and maintainable. But when it comes to learning curve, it is it has a steep learning curve for beginners. So in categories, it is functional programming, also supports imperative, object-oriented, and scripting. So for implementation, it can be interpreted, compiled, or use hybrid method. So in environment, it has a tools like SLime, Emacs, SBCL, Clips, or Rockets. And it also works on Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. Now let's look at Lisp syntax and semantics. In Lisp, the basic building blocks are atoms, lists, and strings. Atoms can be numbers or symbols, while lists are sequence of atoms or other lists enclosed in parentheses. Strings are enclosed in double quotes, and comment starts with a semicolon. When evaluating expression, this treats the first element as a function and the remaining elements as the argument. Variables are assigned values using setg and functions are defined with the dfun. Conditional like if and control which expression are evaluated, while loops like loop, do times, or do list handle repetition. For example, here we assign 10 to x with setg and then 5 to it. To demonstrate the prefix notation list accuses. So next, let's see a full code example in action to better understand how these rules apply. So in this example, we define a function called add5 that takes number n and adds 5 to it. Then we bind the result of calling add5 on 10 to variable result and finally print it. Notice how we use dfun for the function setg, for example binding, and print to display the output. This small example illustrates list prefix notation, variable binding, and function evaluation. Now that we understand syntax and semantics, we can move on how Lisp handles variables, data types, and scope. Now let's discuss names, variables, bindings, and scope in Lisp. Names can include letters, digits, and symbols like plus or question mark, but cannot start with a digit and are case sensitive. Variables are usually created with setg for global use or let and let with the asterisk for local blocks. Binding happens mostly at runtime, although function and macro definitions are bound at compile time. Dynamic binding is possible for special variables using dep var or dep parameter. Lisp primarily uses lexical scoping, meaning variables are visible only within their block, while dynamic scope allows some variables to change depending on the runtime environment. So for example, x is a global variable while y exists only inside the let block. Next, we'll look at data types and short code example to see in action. So for this example, we declare global variable using def var for prevent warnings and ensure they exist. Then we assign values with setg in this example. Name is a string, age is a number, flag is a boolean, and my list is a list of number. Finally, we use print to display their values. This approach avoids compilation warnings and show how list handles variable declaration, assignment, and data types. Next, let's look at statements and control structures in Lisp. In Lisp, control structures determine which expression are evaluated and how many times. For example, we have if for simple condition and cont for multiple condition, and case for switch-like behavior. For loops is flexible, do times runs is fixed number of times, and do list iterates over list. Other useful structures include frogen, group multiple expression, return from to exit early, and when or unless for single branch conditionals. For example, we have checked if x is greater than 5 using if and print the appropriate message. Next, let's see the full code example in action. Now, this is the example. We first declare x using def bar to avoid warnings, then assign it a value with setg using if. We check if x is greater than 5. Next, do times loops 3 times, printing the iterator variable, and do list iterates over a list, printing each element. This demonstrates selection and iteration in Lisp, while showing the importance of declaring variables before use. Next, we'll cover procedures and subprograms in Lisp. These are implemented as function using the fun. Arguments are passed by value, and the return value is the last expression evaluated. Variables inside functions have local scope, while global variable declared with def bar or def parameter can be accessed anywhere. Functions in Lisp are first class, meaning they can be passed as arguments or returned by other functions. For example, this simple function add takes two numbers and return their sum. We then print the result to verify it works. So this example demonstrates multiple Lisp feature in procedure and subprograms. We declare the global variable bonus using def bar. The add function takes two numbers and returns their sum. Add bonus uses the global variable to add a bonus to a score. We also see a higher order function applied twice, which applies a given function twice to a value using call. Finally, we test all functions with print to display their outputs. This example highlights function definition, parameter passing, return values, global and local scope, and first-class function from Lisp. Now we discuss referencing environment. Lisp primarily uses lexical scoping, where a variable's scope is determined by its position in the code. Variables defined inside the block are accessible only there. So dynamic scoping is possible using special variables with depth bar or depth parameter, their values depending on the runtime environment. So closure allows functions to capture variables from their defining environment, creating a private state. So for example here, x is a global variable using in add x. This illustrates how Lisp resolve variables in different environments. So in this code, we see how Lisp handle lexical versus dynamic scoping. Multiple local uses let binding, so factor is local demonstrating lexical scoping. So multiply global uses factor showing dynamic global scoping. So we also create a closure with make adder, which captures the variable x from its defining environment using fun call. We can call the closure with a new value. So for program demonstration, this is the student score program demonstrating multiple list concept we covered. So we declare a global variable bonus using depth parameter to show dynamic scoping. The add bonus function adds the bonus to a score, while average calculates the mean of the list of scores. So in the let block, we define local variable students, scores, and bonus scores. Using do list, we iterate over the score and push the bonus bonifier values into bonus scores. So we reverse the list to maintain the original order. So finally, we display result using format showing the bonus adjusted scores, average score, and highest score. So this program illustrates variable scoping, function, list, loops, and expression, all working together in a practical example. So the output confirms the logic is correct. So that would be the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening, and these are my references.